From Augusta to Hilton Head, South Carolina, the PGA Tour heads to Harbortown Golf Links for the RBC Heritage, which tees off Thursday morning. Welcome to episode 193 of ATL Prime Sports. I'm JJ Jurjevich. Joining me this evening is our fabulous producer, Wayne Ridenauer, in Memphis, Tennessee. You can catch us all at ATL Prime Sports on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, and of course, Apple and Spotify. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Give us a follow across all social media platforms, and give us a like or a review on Apple and Spotify. At JJ Get You One for my personal X, at RWY Jr. for Wayne's personal X, at Quarter Todd for TC Todd Quarter, who is out umpiring high school and middle school baseball, and LG for Realdo, who is out in the field with the Rome Emperors this evening. How are you doing, Wayne?
Well, I just got back from a trip down in that area to Savannah, and we saw everything from Paula Dean's restaurant to, all of the squares that they have down there. We took the little trolley thing around so we could get off at different stops. But one of the more interesting things for me was to go to the St. Bonaventure Cemetery and see Johnny Mercer's grave. And while we were there, we discovered that they were having a grand opening of a new Leopold's ice cream. So if you're ever in Savannah and you don't want to stand in the line in front of Leopold's downtown, there's a new one over by that cemetery that very nice, and you can go there and not have to wait.
Ooh, that's nice to hear. I love Savannah. I love River Street down there, and of course the history with the Forrest Gump film being filmed down there. It's very fun. Wayne, I'm doing well. We were in the same area as you mentioned. I was in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Our Airbnb was on the 8th fairway of Harbortown Golf Links, where they'll be teeing off Thursday morning. And we had a little guys golf trip, so I'm doing extremely well, which is way better than the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young got ejected, and the Hawks lost by 25 in the NBA seventh seed play-in game to the Orlando Magic. The Hawks will play the winner of tonight's Heat Bulls matchup Friday in the 8th seed play-in game at home in State Farm Arena. What's on tap for today? Is there a new normal in college football? The Braves fall to 5-13. What's wrong with the Atlanta Braves? Quarterback Nico Iamaleava is where we'll start this show off. Has left Tennessee for UCLA. Will this be the new normal for college football? Wayne, we'll start with you. The new news, looks like reports are Nico Iamaleava will head from Knoxville, Tennessee to Los Angeles, California, and enroll in the University of California, Los Angeles. Your thoughts on this whole situation from start to finish?
Well, I think all this has become a distraction from the actual game. And I think I had tweeted a response to some of the tweets that people put out about Nico as like, are you more interested in finance or football? Because I get the idea these guys are, like football is a way to get something instead of everything else being a way to enhance your football.
Yeah, it's very interesting. There were reports from Josh Pate, who's a CBS college football analyst, that this started at the end of last year and maybe even at the beginning of it going into the season, that some players wanted more money from the school's collective. And we talked about Tennessee last year. They're going to be one of the first teams to implement a 10% NIL tax on their tickets. Yada, 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 as Seinfeld episode I just watched would say. Now we're here. We have Nico Iamaleava, who had 19 touchdown passes to 5 interceptions in the 24 season. Is he worth that much money? If that is the reason he was leaving, which his dad dismisses, his dad says the starting quarterback, it wasn't about money, it was about the offense. But who knows? Who knows what this story was about? He was set to make $2.2 million. He was already in an $8 million NIL deal over the 4 years or 3 years he would be at Tennessee. So I think this is a little bit strange. It may be the new norm. People are calling it a holdout. He was at spring practice, and at the end of it, kind of dipped off and left the last week of spring practice. And here we are. Now, his name's supposedly in line with UCLA and to be the starting quarterback over there, and a team that went 5-7 in the first year of their Big Ten, struggled on offense at times, didn't score 21 or 27 points, whatever the heck it was, didn't score more than 21 often. And he claimed it was the offense. Dylan Sampson, the running back, did have 22 touchdowns last year. Wayne was very heavily involved in that offense down the stretch. It was one of the many reasons Tennessee went to the college football playoff. But look, this guy only threw 9 touchdown passes in the SEC, 4 against Vanderbilt. So you look at this and you go, man, did this guy really care about football or finance? You're right, Wayne. That's a very good tweet, a very good response. And I'm glad I was able to use your tweet in that response because it's true. The guy's a freshman. Sure, he has lots of talent, but we all saw it. There was wide open receivers against Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia, just wide open, overthrows them, easy walk-in touchdowns that changed the momentum of the game. Now, I'm sure he'll get better at that as time goes by, but right now his mind is on finances. And the people in his corner, his dad, a lawyer, and someone else, I forget who it was, a coach or something like that, he got wrong information. This guy should have stayed at Tennessee, where one of the biggest, best fan bases in college football, yet alone the SEC. You have 100,000 strong every Saturday afternoon. You're on national television. It's not like you're not going to be on national television. UCLA, you are, but it's just not as prominent as a program as that Power T and that orange and white running through it. Yeah. Rocky Top, all the tradition that comes from Knoxville, Wayne. I thought this was a lesser move if he indeed does intend to transfer to UCLA. But money does seem to be the forefront of this issue. As much as their family and representatives want to say it's the offense, I don't know if that's the case. It's just, I don't want this to be the new norm. We saw the former UNLV quarterback. He sat out 2 or 3 games into the season, admits saying he didn't get his NIL money. You saw this with Jalen Rashada, who's now transferring to, last I saw, reports were to Western Kentucky, and there's other schools involved in his recruitment. But he's now about to leave his second school, and he's suing Florida for his NIL money. It's just nuts. And the fact that there's just 2 transfer portals and that a college player, Wayne, could come in, sign his letter of intent, basically after the season in the December transfer portal window. Then he can come to April and after spring practice could transfer again without ever playing at that school. It's just absolutely asinine. There has to be some sort of control over these players and this climate of jumping from team to team to team. Your final thoughts on that, Wayne?
Well, what they don't, and this is something maybe they overlooked or maybe they don't fully understand, but NIL is advertising. And advertising is all about getting your product seen. And so the advertisers, the one paying the money, they're the ones in charge. And these players are going to enjoy the money probably until they find themselves in a chicken outfit down in Hawkinsville, Georgia, opening up the grand opening of Clyde Turkle's chicken shop or something. And then they're going to be like, is this really what I want? But the advertisers are in charge. So,
yeah, it's very interesting. College football could get deeper and darker in terms of this before it gets any lighter, or you see light at the end of the tunnel, whichever acronym analogy you want to use there. It just doesn't look good for Nico. And NFL teams are going to be looking at this saying, oh, wow, is that a leadership thing? They're looking, they're watching, they're always watching. So is this going to hurt his draft stock later on in his career over a couple $1 million when, honestly, it's kind of chump change if you make that first contract. If you get to your rookie contract and you're able to sign that first quarterback deal and you're a starting quarterback, you're talking $40 or $50 million a season. That's about the average annual salary for a starting quarterback in the NFL, a veteran starting quarterback in the NFL. So I don't know, Wayne. Something smells fishy about this, but I wish Nico the best, and I wish the University of Tennessee the best in finding its replacement. But they do have a couple 4 stars in line to take Nico's spot. And Coach Heupel said, we're moving on. Nothing is more powerful than the power T. So pretty impressive words from Coach Heupel. They're moving on, and this escalated quickly, was also solved quickly too, Wayne.
Yeah.
Moving on from college football, we'll talk a little Major League Baseball. The Braves lose 2 of 3 in Canada, drop to 5-13 on the season. What is wrong with the Atlanta Braves? Wayne, I'll tell you, you can't strike out 19 times in a game and expect to win. That's what, 6.1 innings of not even putting the ball in play in a 27-out game. 19 of your outs were contactless, just strikeouts. Not moving the runners over, but Braves ruined Spencer Strider's 2025 debut. Strider's first time on the mound in over a year, spoiled by the lack of hits with runners in scoring position. 0 for 9 in that category. To piggyback on the 19 Ks they already had, 7 of the 9 outs with runners in scoring position, strikeouts, Wayne. They're striking out at an incredible rate this season. They have to cut that out if they want to get this record above 500 and get back in contention in the NL East. Bright spot on today's game, Drake Baldwin, rookie catcher, did hit his first home run. He's swinging a pretty good bat right now. But the Braves are 3-7 in the last 10 years in Toronto. That place has not been good to the Atlanta Braves. It was good to Wiley Ballard, reporter for the Braves, got the girl's number. Got the girl's number. Wayne, did you see that bit, and what did you think about
it? Well, I did not see that bit, so I don't know what to think about
it. Well, it was funny because one of the Braves reporters is going in the stands, and he's asking 2 pretty girls about the game, and it kind of just came up in conversation. And Brandon Gaudin, the Braves play-by-play guy, says, you won't get her number. Well, I got her number. On live television, people were kind of going nuts. I thought it was a fun bit. We are, look, Wayne, I'm in TV. They're in TV. I see it as a way to get more people engaged. And you see it on social media now. It spreads out. The Wiley Ballard got a number, Braves reporter. Some people are going to be up in arms. And then there's going to be some people that say, I'm watching tomorrow to see if he gets the girl's number and if they went on a date. So I see it both ways. I think it was pretty cool. But that was a bright spot. Also in this series, Drake Baldwin's home run earlier today. But over than that, look, you can't go 0 for 9 and expect to win ball games. You can't strike out with runners in scoring position. You cannot strike out 19 times a game and continue to say, oh, they're going to turn it around. They're going to turn it around. At some point, you got to call it what it is. The Braves strike out too many times. They don't put the ball in play. I want to see more small balls, base stealing. I like what Nick Allen's done. He's got on base in platooning with Orlando Arcia at the shortstop position. He's gotten on base, stolen some bases a little bit. I want to see more sack bunts, sacrifice flies, putting the ball in play with runners in scoring position. Because today, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position and only putting the bat on the ball twice, that doesn't give you a chance to win the game, Wayne.
Yeah, well, I think that, you're talking about interest and all that stuff. I'm wondering when they're going to start lowering some of these ticket prices to get people in the stands. I mean, do you notice when you go to the Truist Park that there's big areas, low-cost seats that are empty, or what you would consider a low-cost seat?
Well, at Truist, they don't have that problem necessarily yet. The stadium still fairly got the newness factor to it, and so does the Battery. So the Braves are in the top 2 or 3 in the attendance the last 8-9 years, despite having 2 terrible seasons.
I still think fans would get more excited if they didn't have to pay such a high price for parking, for food, and maybe it's not the ticket price as much as everything else. Because I know
I agree.
when I go down to the games, for the Tigers basketball games, sometimes the parking is like $30. But if you go down there when there's not a game going on, it's way less. And I'm like, why don't you just make it less all the time? But
Yeah, no,
that's
make it more fan friendly.
well, anyway. And what was I going to say about the?
Look, the Chanticleers are doing that.
Yeah.
Coastal Carolina, remember they're going free food at football games this fall.
Well,
Up to four items at a time, and they're just trying to get more people in the seats. So
now
Mercedes-Benz here in Atlanta does it with the Falcons, as you know, so maybe lower some concession costs. Try and save people some money might help. I agree with you there. But, yeah, the Braves, they got to hit the ball, Wayne.
Yeah.
And if they don't hit the ball with runners in scoring position and get on base for the guys that do hit the home runs, their last four runs, Wayne, have all been by solo home runs. So the solo home
that's not a good strategy. It wasn't too many years ago that it seemed like every Braves game you watched, they had at least two or three two-hit runs. And but on the bright side, if you want to look for a silver lining, at least you're better than the Rockies or the White Sox at this point. So there is that.
Yeah, that is a trade-off. But, yeah, as you mentioned, the 2023 Braves, they're not going to come smashing in that door anytime soon. So, again, you got to get guys on base. When those home runs go over the fence, you'd rather them be 2-3 run shot, maybe even a grand slam here and there. That means you're putting guys over, you're moving them around, and you're scoring. The Braves just aren't doing that enough as of late. The pitching's okay. It's been fairly decent. Strider, 3 runs. I don't think he pitched that terribly in his debut. Had, 5 or 6 strikeouts on the day. So I'm not terribly not unimpressed at all. His velocity was there. Still looked like much of the Spencer Strider. He did get to 500 strikeouts in his career today. Austin Riley's swinging a good bat. He's already got 5 home runs, and he's leading the team with 12 RBIs and 21 hits. Marcell Ozuna's still leading the team with the 306 batting average. His injury, going to have to monitor that moving forward. The Braves are just having a tough time right now, and they need to start getting some hits. Wayne, your Rangers, though.
Well, the Rangers are dealing. Well, they're dealing with a new issue now. It used to be Oakland or Seattle that was a problem, even though they did lose, I think, 3 games in a row to Seattle recently. Now the new thing is the Los Angeles Angels, and I am 100% sure it's because of Ron Washington being there.
100%.
Yeah.
And there's already rumors, if this season continues down the path it is, do the Atlanta Braves reach out to Ron Washington and bring him in some way, shape, or form?
Well,
we'll see.
He's got a pretty good gig over there on the West Coast right now. So I don't know about him.
He's coaching one of the better baseball players to ever put on a uniform in Mike Trout, who looks unbelievably healthy and still got one of the better bats in baseball. So your Rangers up by a half game at 10-7 on the season.
Yeah, that's going to
really well at home right now.
That's going to flip flop all year long. I got a feeling it's just going to be back and forth because nobody's going to get a big lead there.
Yeah, I think the NL West might end up being one of your better divisions in baseball. Seattle's right there around the 500 mark. You know Houston's going to turn it around, and surprisingly, Oakland. The opposite record of you guys already has 7 wins on the season. They weren't expected to be as competitive as many people thought they might be this early in the season. So looking forward to the NL West, how it plays out. I picked the Houston Astros to win that division, and I picked your Rangers to get in the playoffs, but I did not pick the Angels. And the Angels might be the surprise of Major League Baseball this season, and a big part of that is former Braves third base coach, Ron, send him home Washington. So I am looking forward to that NL West divisional race. It's going to heat up. Seattle, Los Angeles, Houston, Texas, 4-team race right now. Every single team in that division within 3 games right now. But yeah, back to the Braves real quick to finish up. Braves fans, don't panic. Still early. Only 6 games out in the division behind the old New York Mets. Philadelphia, haven't done very well in their last 10 games. They're just 4-6 in their last 10. We'll see what comes down the stretch here with the Atlanta Braves. They got to put the ball in play a little bit more if they want to increase their chances of winning. But right now, it's just looking flat. Bats are flat, striking out too much. The Braves are going to have to change their approach moving forward. Got to think single. Got to think extend the at-bat. Get on base via the walk. You put the ball in play, and anything can happen. Wayne, any final thoughts on Major League Baseball before we go to the final thought?
No, I think we've wrapped it up.
My final thought is hats off to Rory McIlroy for completing the career Grand Slam. This is his 11th attempt at completing it. Defeated Justin Rose in a playoff at the Masters on Sunday, becoming the 6th golfer to complete the Grand Slam, winning the Masters, the PGA Championship, the Open, and the U.S. Open. Hats off, Rory McIlroy. Not the biggest fan of him personally, but you got to recognize greatness when it happens. And Rory is definitely one of the top 5 to 7 golfers that ever held a club. Congratulations, Rory McIlroy, on finally getting your Masters green jacket. You're a champion for life there, my friend.
Yeah.
So hats off to Rory. What a career he's had, Wayne. Your final thought for the evening.
Well, I'll push it over the NBA for just a little bit. You had brought that up slightly earlier. And, I don't know if you remember back in October, November, maybe a little bit in December, everybody was high on Memphis Grizzlies because they were, way up in the division, and everybody was worried about the Hawks because they were struggling at that time. Well, guess what? They're both 8th seed in the playoffs now. So it's like they both ended up in the same spot, basically.
Yep. The Hawks are in that play-in game. They got to win Friday night to get that 8th seed. And NBA playoffs, man, it's lost its luster, if you ask me. It's not as fun as it once used to be. I think too many teams make the playoff. I don't like the play-in. That's a conversation for a different day, Wayne. But you are 100% correct. Very similar seasons.
Well, I tell you that you had just said something there about the NBA losing its luster and everything, and I guess that's why our NBA spot ended up as the final thought instead of a segment.
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's not the same NBA that I grew up with Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Hakeem Olajuwon, Bill Lambowski, Lambier, Reggie Miller, these guys. It's just not the same. The physicality's down, the scoring's up, the defense is down, the shot efficiency is down. You're seeing teams shoot 60 3-pointers a night and make 25 of them and call it a good night. It's just basketball that is not fun for me to watch right now.
Yeah, I'd like to see some comparisons between Reggie Miller's sister. What was her name?
Cheryl
Miller and Caitlin Clark, just to see some comparison on numbers. Somebody should put that together.
Yeah, speaking of Caitlin Clark, the WNBA draft was the other night, and WNBA season's right around the corner. So Caitlin Clark fever is going to heat up real quick, real fast.
Yep. All right.
Well, that wraps it up for Wayne in Memphis. I'm JJ right here in Lilburn, Georgia. For Todd in Woodstock, Larry in Adairsville. We'll see you next week, guys. Again, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, hit that notification button so you get notified when we drop our latest content. And please leave a review on Apple or Spotify. Until next week, get you one. We'll see you later.